In the 1990s, everyone wanted to be like Mike, and one player got closer than anyone else. But how did Kobe get to be the next Jordan before he ever played an NBA game? There's no other pair of players who are so often compared and debated and who actually played like one another on the court. The jump shot, the hang time, the and one circus layups, the post moves, the footwork. Everything was a piece of the total game that Michael and Kobe displayed and dominated their competition with. If you've been watching for as long as I have, you might remember how Kobe was criticized harshly early on in his career for trying to be just like Mike. People who were die-hard Jordan fans couldn't stand it that Kobe was being compared to Jordan. They swore he wasn't good enough for the comparisons and that he was just a carbon copy, having no originality or creativity. Well, now we know better, but it still makes you wonder, why Kobe? There were plenty of star perimeter players like Tracy McGrady, Grant Hill, and Vince Carter, who were being compared to Jordan in their potential to dominate, but at the same time they were all different players. Meanwhile, Kobe was told to be just another copy of Jordan. Even though he did much more than shoot fadeaways like Michael, people just couldn't look past the fact that he sounded like Jordan in some interviews and carried himself on and off the court the same way. To understand how all this happened, I'm going to talk about something that people never mention: the shoe companies who were in their own behind-the-scenes race to the top. It's common knowledge now that the Air Jordan brand propelled Nike to a level of success a shoe company had never experienced before. What's crazy is that Jordan almost signed with Adidas before he signed with Nike. From 1960 to 1980, every single MVP player was a center, except 1964's Oscar Robertson. Bill Russell won 11 rings in those years wearing Chuck Taylors. Wilt Chamberlain won multiple MVPs and scored 100 points wearing Chuck Taylors. The NBA logo was wearing Converse too. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson in the 80s? Yup, Converse.
Hey, maybe it was made for both of us. Must be magic. Now that's who this shoe was made for.
Meanwhile, Kareem was meditating and hitting sky hooks while rocking Adidas Jabars. Long before Bill Walton was rambling for hours about the good old days, he was playing in Adidas. Dr. J played in Adidas when he was in the ABA, and even Michael Jordan, while playing in college, would wear Adidas, but eventually switched to Converse because his coach forced him to. Then, in 1984, when Jordan was desperate to get signed by Adidas, the distributors wanted to make it official, but executives in Germany decided that they would rather sponsor centers. They thought for some reason that shoppers favored 7-footers, even though the average shopper is closer to Nate Robinson. Jordan met with Converse, but he left disappointed, realizing they didn't have any ideas for future superstars. He told his agent, "I have no interest in going there. Just do what you need to do to get me to Adidas." Nike, on the other hand, went all in with their presentation, offering to customize their shoes for MJ, something that no other company offered him. After Nike said they would give him $500,000 a year for 5 years, which was more than 3 times higher than what any other player was making at the time from a shoe deal, Jordan took the contract back to Adidas and offered to sign with them if they would present something close to that. Imagine that. Jordan said, "Give me anything close to this and I'm signing with you," and Adidas refused again. So fast forward about a decade. Jordan has taken the world by storm and Adidas looks incredibly dumb for their decision. Kobe Bryant was getting ready to make the jump to the NBA in 1996. Growing up, Kobe's favorite player was Magic Johnson. His entire room was a shrine to him, not to mention his dad often cited Magic as an example of what a player should be like. Kobe said he used to pray that he'd grow to be 6'9" so he could be just like Magic. When he watched film of other players, it was the Lakers and the Celtics dominating the finals in the 80s, not Jordan or anyone else. Plus, Kobe would study everyone's moves, not just Magic or Jordan, but also Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, and Hakeem Olajuwon. He liked the way Jordan dunked over people, but he always felt that Magic was his favorite. But for some reason, there's a million Jordan comparisons for every comparison to any other player. And the reason for that is that Adidas was looking to make up for their disaster of passing on Jordan in 1984 and make a comeback in the race to the top. Nike went from reporting their first ever quarter loss that year to completely dominating the scene as Jordan exploded into a global icon. Meanwhile, Adidas was still a mostly European company. 3 members of the original Nike Revolution had left Nike and were running Adidas America. They were looking for a charismatic face to carry the new product line. One of these 3, Sonny Vaccaro, was the mastermind who decided to build an entire product line for a college kid from North Carolina. In 1993, he set out to find the next Air Jordan. He needed a player who had the skills and the charm and charisma that Jordan had, but who was going to be entering the scene just as Jordan was in 1984, a fresh face with a familiar swag. And that person was Kobe Bryant. Even as a teen, he was singled out by representatives of Adidas, the athletic shoe company, and told that they planned to make him the next Michael Jordan. It was a role that lined up perfectly with his own designs, and within a few short months, he had the part down, from the speech patterns to the confident air, even to the shaved head, even though he was only 17 at the time. The transformation was startling. It helped in a way that Vaccaro saw NCAA as a cynical enterprise, making billions off of young players without paying them a dime. College sports were a great opportunity for most athletes, but elite athletes such as Kobe or Jordan were different. Vaccaro thought nothing should prevent them from playing at a professional level from a young age. As Kobe was winning Summer League MVPs and making his name in 1995, Vaccaro was even more convinced that Kobe would be the right person to gamble on. During a limo ride in Detroit the day before a game, Kobe's head was shaved. He talked like Jordan, had adopted many of his mannerisms. They were returning from a media session where Bryant had performed with Jordan like charm. In the car, Vaccaro mentioned Jordan in their conversation. Bryant leaned in and said that he was going to be better than Jordan. Vaccaro considered the thought that Bryant was even more confident than Jordan had been as a young player set to enter pro basketball. Looking back 2 decades later, Vaccaro realized that the entire relationship with Adidas had shaped the 17-year-old Bryant into thinking that he was the next Jordan.
Look at him. Walks just like him. I'll tell you, if he had 2-3 on his back, you may not even know the difference except for the afro.
And since Kobe was so ambitious, he had already locked in on Jordan's example and presence. The designer and executive for Adidas, Peter Moore, would later say Bryant had no desire to be Michael Jordan. I think Kobe thought Michael was a hell of a basketball player, but Kobe wanted to be his own icon. Kobe wanted to be Kobe, and wanted that to be what kids wanted. So there you have it, the real reason Kobe Bryant was pushed into the Michael Jordan comparisons long before he even got drafted by the Hornets in 1996. Blame Adidas and their seemingly impossible goal that they actually kind of achieved. I heard that Adidas had just passed Air Jordan in popularity last year in 2017. So it took a while, but they did eventually make a comeback after their blunder in 1984. Would you wear Adidas today, or are you still going with the Jordans in 2018? Let me know in the comments. Remember to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.